unattended. Please be cautious with your personal belongings. Thank you.
I seem to have done it. I'm at the boarding gate at Phnom Penh Airport, and despite a major operator malfunction, the helpful staff at Vietnam Airlines sorted out my numerous problems. I won't go into them. So, and I'm waiting for my plane to arrive. It's going to take us all to Ho Chi Minh City. Now, what can I tell you? This airport, there's not a lot of people here.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? This is the final call for passenger name Okona and the City. Passenger name Okona and the City, and passenger name Mansubi Wayet Krishna. Passenger name Mansubi Wayet Krishna. The traveling with Cambodia Airport by ticket 818, ticket 818 to Ho Chi Minh. With passenger name Okona and the City, and passenger
So,
name
similarities between the two airports, both Phnom Penh and Saigon, or Ho Chi Minh City Airport, are 6 kilometres from downtown. But because of the intensity of the traffic, which involves tuk-tuks, motorcycles, cars, SUVs, you name it, very, very heavy traffic, so it takes at least 40 minutes to get out here, and the same in Saigon. And both airports are being replaced by newer airports that will be built, I think, around about 30 miles or 50 kilometres out of town. So I can imagine when that happens, it'll be 2 to 3 hours getting from the airport to town. Delightful after a long haul trip. But we made it here. It was great going through the city actually this afternoon. It was raining, and so that cooled the air off a little bit, although it's still very humid. And it was just reminded me of driving through Chicago actually. Now I'm hopeful. I forgot to ask, because of my operator malfunction, I forgot to ask for a window seat. So maybe I'll miss out on that, because we'll be leaving just before sunset, and I thought it would be great, you know, getting the sun setting over the land and then coming in over Ho Chi Minh at night time. And you can really see the intensity of the city. However, all's good. So if I can, I'll pick this up again inside the aircraft in an hour or so. Well, I had another operator malfunction, and this time a potentially serious one. When I went to board at the gate, I left one of my bags on the seat, and it had all my paperwork in it, documentation, tickets, vaccination record, RAT test from this morning. But I just let the flight attendants know, and they were very helpful. Walked me up there, went up, no one had stolen them. And I was hoping to get a window seat, but I forgot. So I don't have one, but no one seems to be sitting next to me, and if that's the case, I will move over to the window. We're on the correct... Oh, spoke too soon. And I asked the flight attendant if it was raining in Ho Chi Minh City, and she said it was. So the cities aren't very far apart. And even if we can't see very much out of the window, I can introduce you to a true mystery of the Orient. Yes, they still exist. And I'll even explain it empirically to you.
Can I go over to the board?
cabin lights have been turned down low in the aircraft. And we're going into darkness, going into the sunset. Unfortunately, the most interesting part is going to be going through customs and immigration in Ho Chi Minh City, and we won't be able to film that, video it. But we'll see what we can get. It looks like the Mekong down there.
quý khách, chào mừng quý khách đến với sân bay quốc tế Tân Sơn Nhất, thành phố Hồ Chí Minh. Bây giờ là 6 giờ 55 phút tối, giờ địa phương, với nhiệt độ bên ngoài vào khoảng 27 độ C. Quý khách lưu ý ngồi yên tại chỗ, cài chặt dây an toàn cho đến khi máy bay dừng hẳn và đèn hiệu cài dây an toàn đã tắt. Cẩn thận khi mở ngăn hành lý. Kiểm tra kỹ tư trang và tuyệt đối không mở cửa máy bay khi không có yêu cầu của tiếp viên. Hành khách sử dụng dây an toàn cho em bé vui lòng để lại tại ghế ngồi hoặc gửi cho tiếp viên tại cửa máy bay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tân Sơn Nhất International Airport, Ho Chi Minh City. It is now 6:55 p.m. local time. The outside temperature is 27 degrees Celsius. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the aircraft completely stops and the fasten seatbelt sign has been turned off. Take care of your belongings and ensure the contents do not fall out when opening overhead lockers. You are requested not to open the aircraft doors unless instructed by the cabin crew. Please leave infant seatbelt at your seat or return to cabin crew.
Well, these are different lights, city lights. Is this Go Vap or District 3? Is this Go Vap or District 3? Yeah, I don't think the driver understands my accent. Xin chào.
Xin chào. Xin chào Việt Nam.
So most of the hassle, I'm just talking to the camera, so most of the problems were in Cambodia. They sorted everything out so that it was really just a matter of waiting in lines. The processing at the airport here in Saigon was very good, pretty efficient, and got through there pretty well. So we're either in Govap or District 3. The airport's in District 3 or Govap, I'm not sure, and District 3 is next to District 1 or Quan 1. So we're making our way down to Quan 1. I've never seen so little traffic in Saigon. It's very quiet. Look at that, all brightly lit up. They certainly love lights. So I had guesstimated that I would get to the hotel about 9 o'clock. I went to the hotel to the apartment, and I think I'm right on track. So
đi Quận Nhất. Dạ mới đây à.
So quiet night in Saigon.
Có gì đáng giữ khách đi. Okay.
Wow, the sun is rising in Saigon. It was a short journey, but I'm still very, very tired. I'd say a profound journey. Just a 45-minute flight, but gosh, I feel different. I'm going to have to take stock. I didn't even recognize the neighbourhood when I came into it, although it was dark, of course. To tell the truth, I feel a little flattened. It's going to take some time to come to terms with all of this. But that's the adventure of travel, isn't it? You look for life-changing experiences which you hope will improve you, from which you may become a better person. Well, I suppose in the next few videos we're going to find out. Well, the first thing I have to report is that none of my things were stolen. And I'm pretty sure if I'd been in Western countries like New Zealand, having left my apartment unoccupied for 2 years, I would have expected to have lost a lot, if not everything. But you know, testament to the Vietnamese people. So this is right behind where I live, and it wasn't there when I left 2 years ago. So this is going to lead to the gentleman of this area. One which I used to call the 16th century when I first came here, because it was all just a huge market, open air market, street market, an illicit one too. It was eventually closed down. Coconuts. It's called the Grand Manhattan. And the building just past it, the green, that's a part of the school. It's a bit of a pity because the sun moves across the sky that way, which means this high-rise is going to cast a shadow on the school. But even the sidewalk is completely different. So we just don't know what's going to happen in this area. I've seen one, I just walked out of the front of my apartment and there's an old lady out there. She was happy to see me again and greeted me. I'd forgotten all about her, actually. Yeah, these schools are great. These There's two schools. There's this part here at the front is a primary school, and behind it is a high school. Of course, it's too early in the morning for the students to be there, but often when you walk past, it's very joyous sounding. Oh, dog chasing a bird. So this is the area just waking up. I'm going to an ATM because I need to get some Vietnamese dom. There's that beautiful pagoda here. Yes, so often when you walk past, you hear such joyous sounds coming from the school. And then with the high school around here, I'll go down here later, I'll do a walk around the whole block. I'm doing the ATM and see which businesses are still here. I'll be going down there later. I'll do a walk around the block. Yeah, and the high school, the kids, they go to they have certain little cafes they go to. And you can go to, after school, you see these teenage groups of kids, couples, whatever. I don't know if they drink coffee. Oh, there's the pharmacy I usually go to. There's the pharmacy I usually go to. Klong Chen. Much less English spoken here than in Cambodia. I think I was getting a bit lazy in that way. Some people speak English here, just don't expect it and you'll be fine. If you speak English here, just don't expect it and you'll be fine. Okay. I'm heading on to the bank machine. Well, the first ATM I went to was out of order, so I'll go to the one I usually go to, or usually used to go to. I'm sure that'll be open. So I must say that even initially, I don't know if it's culture shock, but if it is, I'd never, coming from 2 years in Cambodia to here is greater than coming from New Zealand to here. It's quite unexpected. So we'll just have to see how this plays out. Everybody off to work. Well, not everybody. Still very early. And I'm going to cross the road here and go over to the Pullman Hotel, if I can get across here. That traffic is very, very light. There's a bus stop there. We have to ride a bus together sometime. Buses are great here. And they only cost 20 cents, so that's all they did before inflation. And often, the traffic is so busy and the schedule's so tight that the bus often doesn't actually stop. It just slows down to a reasonable speed, and doors open and people jump off and jump on. And then there's a conductor on board. Often they're a husband and wife team. So the husband is driving generally, and the wife, who is the conductor, comes and collects your 20-cent fare. Okay, now let's see if this ATM is still here. Yep. No, that ATM is also temporarily out of service. I want to get Vietnamese dom. I have some American dollars on me, but if I'm going to go to a small cafe and that, it might just cause some difficulties for them. I'm not sure. Just thought it'd be a little bit more considerate to get on. There used to be a ATM across the road, so I'll go over there. There's a Pullman Hotel. It's pretty nice apparently. I haven't really been in there. The notorious Buoy VN is just over there, the walking street. Plenty of videos on that. It's not really my scene, so. Cafe Ann. Well, some morning traffic. Crazy foreigners come back, apparently. Now that ATM is no longer there. Okay, I'm just going to have to I don't know what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to try to get a coffee. Start my day off. There's one half of the Grand Manhattan. So where I live over there. Oh, I was going to save this till later, but it's been one of my big questions while I've been away. There was a second-hand bookstore in my neighbourhood. It was very good. And I had a good relationship with them. They knew what I was interested in. Vietnamese culture, history, literature and art. And so if they got new books in, they'd set them aside. I mean, when I came in about once a week, oh, we have this for you. And that was just wonderful. But they were a small business. And books and coffee. There it is. Thank God they're still there. And there's Circle K over here. I wonder if they have an ATM in there. Go and have a look. So just to get another view on it, there's the Grand Manhattan, and here's the high school. I live directly behind that over there, and there's the second half of the Grand Manhattan being built. So the sidewalks are cleaner. But it's still early in the morning. Breakfast, not for me. Now here's the high school park. So from about 3 in the afternoon, you see many high school students in this area, and they particularly like to go to that supermarket over there, which has a cafe in it. I don't know why. Long Thi Vinh. Here we are. Long Thi Vinh. Oh look, this woman dressed traditional. Style. They're everywhere. Vietnamese like to sit and enjoy cafe. Now I can get a coffee down here. I used to be able to. Let's just see. And I'll have to see if she takes American. No, oh no, I'll just go to the place I used to go to. Hoping they're still there. It must be the day the ATMs went down in Ho Chi Minh City. I did try a little cafe. they wouldn't take Americans. I was really spoiled in Cambodia because they use American and Cambodian currency, and with the English being widely spoken, you know, very, very easy to get by. This bridge goes over to District 4. So there's the Grand Manhattan from another angle, and that bridge over to District 4 that goes over a sort of a canal. Pretty much dead water as far as I can tell. I had crossed it on a footbridge down by Cho Lon about a few kilometres down that way past the end of District 1, and it wasn't a very appetising smell that came up off that river. The place I used to come to is still here. I've walked too far, and they're going to take American dollars, so I like these people. So I'm going to get a pho and a cafe, and there's a lovely alleyway up here. In fact, as you go further up on the left, there's actually a vacant lot. It's quite pastoral. Look across it. Hello, little doggy. Very friendly dogs. Well, not friendly, but certainly not aggressive. Very well behaved. My first Vietnamese coffee. So one of the small businesses that survived COVID. I'm very pleased about that. Oh, look. Thank you very much. Look at that delicious pho. I don't know how much. I just gave them $3 for the pho and the coffee. It might be less. I wasn't going to quibble. They didn't complain. Aha, food. That pho and that coffee was seriously good. Now, the next place we go over here, I'm not going to try to buy at the moment because I just don't want to drop US dollars on these small businesses. It's Tan Hui Vien, and it's a Ma and Pa coffee shop. How are you? I'll ask him. I only have US dollar. Can I pay in US dollar? Or should I go and get Vien Dom?
No.
Okay, no pay in US dollar. Okay, thank you. So yeah, look, there's tea there, different types of tea. And there's coffee up there, Robusta, for example, spelt with an A. 32,000 dom for 100 gram, that's not very much. I mean, that's pretty inexpensive. So I go in there and get my, he remembered me, amazing. Go and get my coffee there in 500 gram lots. And we're back in on my street. This has changed. There was a Ma and Pa sort of leather working place there. And still maybe too early in the morning. This all looks much the same. This is New Frolic Bar, sign of things to come. And no sign of Anne yet. Usually I don't think she opens the store early in the morning. I go to her. Hello, how are you? This used to be a really good place. But ownership changed. Hi, so some of my neighbours, they were pleased to see me again, as I was pleased to see them. Now, did I say at the coffee shop that Vietnam is the world's second largest producer of coffee? So if you're thinking of moving to Vietnam and opening a Starbucks franchise, don't do it. You're not going to make any money. These people know coffee, they grow coffee, and it's a cafe culture. They can do it all. They've done it all. all sorts of varieties, including coffee with egg in it. I haven't had that yet. No doubt I will sometime. And here I am. Well, what am I doing? I meant to look for a couple of businesses I used to go to. I walked right past them, so I'll come back. So this is the street where I live. It gets narrow down this end, which is sort of strange. Oh, there's the dragon lady. I wonder if she's still here. She was on the corner there. Not really the best place to go for coffee, because usually when I'd go there, it would take a long time to get served. You know, there used to be a place up here, I think it's closed, there's Snob Coffee. They would definitely take American. Looks like a pizza place now. That's a pity. It was a place with all the Western comfort, so if you wanted to step out of the whole full-on 35-degree Celsius heat, but now Snob Coffee has become Dodo Pizza. They deliver. I don't want to cross the street here. So, oh, I know where there's some good cafes. Really good. I forgot. Well, I wasn't planning on, because I wasn't planning on doing all of this, walking around. Well, I'm slowly, the feeling's coming back. It was a shock. It was a huge culture shock, really. Well, the whole experience of traveling. I made so many mistakes, silly little mistakes, you know, that I'd never have made before. And they were all my fault. Phnom Penh Airport, with the documentation. I had it all the hard paper documentation. There's a place called Ladies Coffee, it's not open. All the hard paper documentation, I had that, but they also wanted it digitally, and I didn't have a SIM card for my smartphone, so it became a real problem. But it took over an hour to figure out, and I was pretty stressed. Then I left, when we got our call to board, I left my bag in the on the seat, one of my bags, I had so many, on the seat by the boarding, at the boarding gate. So I had to get help to retrieve that bag. And then with the taxi, I couldn't recognize my neighborhood. He was telling me he parked right outside where I live, and said, oh, here it was, and I said, no. We actually went down another block, and I called out to someone, here's a place I used to go to. I don't know if they sell coffee. They sell smoothies. Hello. Ah, coffee. Wait. I have American only. Can I pay American? Hello. Me?
Yes, and
Can I pay an American? No American. I understand. This is a lovely alleyway. As you go further down District 1, there are whole alleyway networks like this, and they have a real European feel, and as you can see, they're not busy. They're not... I wonder if this is the place I used to go to. I'll have a look.
In Vietnam traditional, we drink the milk coffee with the hot tea, like me.
Yep, okay.
Very good. Yeah,
Traditional milk coffee with hot tea.
Yes, hot tea.
And this man said he'd pay for me.
Yeah, con bà
Yeah.
đảo coffee.
Should I sit there?
Yes, sure. You can take
Okay,
a video also.
thank you. All right, I'll tell you, this is a lovely place. I used to come here, it's, you know, when the city's too much. Go to one of these alleyways and find somewhere to sit down and chill out. So that guy said, I asked the owner if he took American, and he said, the guy out there said he'd buy me a coffee. But another time when I came in here, about 3 years ago actually, there was some real, they were playing some real chill sort of music. As it turned out, it was Vietnamese, but you couldn't really tell. And you know, and that it wasn't traditional or classical Vietnamese. And I just asked the woman who owns the place what the music was, and she actually pulled out, she had it on a little thumbnail drive, and she gave it to me. So I took it home and downloaded it. I later used it on a film, and then I brought it back a few days later. So I've been in here many times. They have a big library over there. Yes. So it's probably 7 a.m. And here we are, the coffee. This is traditional coffee with no sugar. And tea. It's good. So we'll go back and see who else we can see. And then I don't know what I'm going to do, because I could start editing. Big thing to do is to find a bank machine, an ATM. Yeah, find an ATM, get some Vietnamese dom, and then we'll be in business. This is very quiet. It could be early in the day. It's nice to see a lot of these small businesses have managed to survive COVID. I was speaking of second-hand bookstore. I was pretty worried it would be start all over again. And it remains to be seen how that Grand Manhattan will affect the neighbourhood. My alleyway still seems much the same, and some of the other alleyways that I've been down. Boy, oh boy. Look at that French style place over there. I'd met I don't remember whether he was Canadian or American who lived in there. Long-term resident too. Beautiful looking old colonial place. I don't know what it's actually like inside. Yep. Okay. This is in my alleyway, but even at this level, you can see the changes are still going on. Haven't seen Hang. Remains to be seen whether her business survived. It's just gone 7:30. It's starting to get hot, so probably need another shower before I venture out again a bit later. Yet to find an ATM that's working so I can get some Vietnamese currency. I need to buy some supplies in terms of shampoo, etc., coffee, milk. Just start gradually resupplying the household. All good, but a real culture shock, quite unexpected. It's given me a lot to think about. Okay. While I was away, my landlady had my apartment renovated, which was really nice. I think the one thing that I really missed most of all, I wished I really, before I had gone away for my 2 weeks in New Zealand, I debated whether to bring this book or not with me, and I decided not to, which was it's a compilation. Is it a compilation? An anthology of 1,000 years of Vietnamese literature. I think it would have helped if I had it, but now I can return to it. It's published by the Red River Publishing House in Hanoi. I'm not sure when. You can see how yellowed the pages are. It's not unusual to find in second-hand books here Vietnamese second-hand books to be for the pages to have yellowed. Probably not acid-free stock or something. But I'll be going back to the bookshop later today. And as I indicated earlier, I'm really experiencing a profound sort of culture shock. It's not bad, but it almost feels like the biggest overnight transition I've ever had in my life. So that's going to be interesting, coming to terms with it over the next little while. I don't know how long that will last. I was pretty emotional last night. I feel okay now. Maybe I'll rest for a little while and then go out for another walk. Find that elusive ATM. In fact, when I first moved here into this neighbourhood, that's exactly the same thing that happened. I couldn't find a working ATM. I'm going over there to Bui Vien. Not exactly where I wanted to go, but you got to roll with the punches when you're travelling, which is what I did not quite do yesterday. So disappointed in myself, making 3 big mistakes yesterday. There's usually 2 or 3 policemen on the other side there supervising the traffic. It doesn't make any difference. They don't care. Everybody, you just figure it out for yourself. Being aware of, there's a little city bus, and there's a big one. Blue one, and another one. Sure, there used to be lights here. Yeah, the traffic looks chaotic and disorganised, but not that bad. You just figure out people are courteous. So I'll move around. You know, here we go into Walking Street, Bui Vien, the great nighttime part of Ho Chi Minh City. I mean, I don't see the point. Even in the daytime, you'll see these huge sort of sports bars, and Westerners will be sitting in them, drinking beers that cost about $1, and watching football on TV. Like everywhere, it has good alleyways. Really doesn't come to life until about 10 o'clock at night or later. I'm having no luck, am I? Walking Street, here we go. There's a good place to lose your money. And here we have an ATM. Let's try it. Well, I got some money out of there. It was a bit of an ordeal. Extremely confusing. I'll have to find a bank sometime. I've got quite a bit in US dollars. I can convert them. The keypad that you use on these ATMs changed from before. Before it was simpler to access, but I find the terms a bit confusing. Which account am I accessing? Because it might have a particular name in my account, but on the ATM it'll be designated differently. So whether I was charged for 3 transactions or 1, I don't know. And they have the conversion rate. Then there'll be the transaction fee at my bank. I'll talk about that in some future video. Now there were all lights around here before. I've just followed this lady up ahead. If you're in doubt about crossing, just attach yourself to a local. They'll know when to cross. Yeah, there were lights, pedestrian lights here before, but they've gone now. Now I want a smoothie, so I'm going around back to the smoothie place that I visited earlier. That security guard has been sitting there for 2 years, still there. 80s coffee. So we touched on Buivi, and I'm not interested in the area. There's one good shop in there, the sort of traditional handicrafts from the Sapa region up north. They have some really nice stuff. Most of the rest of it is not to my interest. And you're going to pay a lot more on that street too. As I just come into a local alley, favoured by the locals. Simple rule of thumb, if you see a place patronised by the locals, it's going to be pretty good. It's a little convenience store there. I'll pick up some milk. And we'll come back. We know we're open because they were open before. Yep. Okay. Man, am I tired. Finding it really difficult to do anything. But I ordered a strawberry smoothie. She set me up for a while.
One strawberry smoothie. That should help.
That strawberry smoothie was great. Really going to have to get used to Vietnamese currency again, which I've always found confusing at the best of times. We're going into Teen Plus. I think it's a supermarket. See if they have some milk. No, water, Coca-Cola. Milo. No. Okay. There are supermarkets further up there. I don't want to go there right now, but I do want to get milk and coffee for my apartment. Is the coffee? No. They're not open. Let's look at the alleyway. Very nice. Very quiet. Lovely breeze coming up here, so even though it's very hot, that breeze cools everything off. And you're just completely away from the usual normal intensity of the city streets. Further up that way, there's a massive area of alleyways like this. It's very, very European. You know, you think you're in a city in Greece or something, actually. I really like it up there. In fact, if I had to move from where I am, that would be the area of find one that I'd most like to live in. Simply because it's so civilized, it's not frantic. Oh yes. Came up here a few hours ago, or down here. I know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to video it simply because it's a video in itself. I know how to cut through to the coffee shop. If you walk, I'm probably walking too quickly for you to be able to see some of what I can see. And here we are back by that old pagoda. Alright. So I've done a huge walk around. Actually, you know, when I came back here, that's where I had breakfast. Is that where I had breakfast? I'm not sure. No, I had breakfast up there. When I was thinking about it, I thought, oh, I'll do a walk around the neighbourhood when I come back, and I had it all planned out. Well, so much for the planning. That's where I had breakfast over there. Louis Hu Tea. So good. Now, Ma Pa coffee shop. Get some coffee. Oh, I should have checked for the Vinmart. I could have got milk there. There's a Vinmart next to me, but it hasn't been open. Okay, let's get some coffee. Now we're talking. Not sure what mocha is, I've had it before though. Measure it out. Round up over there because I don't have the grinder. So I'll be making coffee at home shortly. Thank you. Have a good day. Starting to feel good. Hang, I need 5 today. I need 5. 2, 5. She's not going to serve me. You could wear that on your head. Hello. Xin chào. Heng does not like me to film her or video her. But this would be good if I get 5. I can have 2 for lunch and just put 2 in the fridge for later. No Vinmart. Gone. Closed. Closed. 5. Okay, I did that, but Hang really doesn't like me videoing her, so I'll just leave it there like that.